Hi, dear friends. This is the 2nd of January 2024. This is the first broadcast of the year 2024, and this is number 51 of the Time Chronicles. And I'd like to attribute this broadcast or dedicate this broadcast to Japan. And you will see the reasons why I do this. So I call this broadcast Tribute to Japan. Actually, my interest in Japan started when I was at the university. There was a course on the Meiji Restoration, and I found it very interesting, and there were very few students attending. So I said to myself, okay, don't go with the crowd, go where nobody goes to. So I joined the class, and I had a friend. Her mother was Turkish, and her father was Japan. So she was a good friend of mine, and I really wondered what the history was about and why Japanese people are so kind. So I wanted to know. And I didn't know at that time why, actually, I wanted to know. Uh, One of the reasons is I learned astrology later on, and I saw that my natal chart was so in accordance with the natal chart of Japan. I have not been to Japan before, and I don't know any Japanese word, but I have an alignment with the natal chart of Japan. This is very interesting. In the natal chart of Japan, the sun is in Aquarius, just like mine. Moon is in Gemini, and Mercury is in Pisces. So, same chart of me. Yes, we have some differences, but these are really what is so important because sun determines the character, moon determines the emotions and the prospect, how do you act in life, and Mercury talks about communication and your broadcasting, actually. So I want to start with what I learned in the Meiji Restoration lecture at the university and attributes of the Meiji Restoration. This was in 1889, 8 years after Atatürk was born, actually. And I feel there is a connotation between the Meiji Restoration and the Turkish revolutions after the foundation of Turkish Republic in 1923. So you will find some analogy if you know the Turkish system, the revolution system. Let me talk about the attributes. In 1889, there was abolishment of the Edo period, which was a shogun period and a feudal period. Actually, there was no central authority. So the objective was to create a central government and the abolishment of the feudal system. The shogun structure has ended. Tokyo became the capital city, and institutions of central authorities were founded, like postal service, law enforcement services, and a lot of things, infrastructure. The Gregorian calendar was adopted, and in 1889, the new constitution was declared, and this is the February 11th, 1889. And it is the birthday of Japan that I use for the astrological natal chart, actually, to see a birth of a country and what is the natal chart and what are the transit charts that, encountered at the very important events such as earthquakes. And the know-how was brought into Japan Actually, Japan was a closed system before the Meiji Restoration, and after the Meiji Restoration, it was opened up to West, and there were other strategic decisions because there were a lot of wars going on with Russia and China, so Japan had to come together as one and stand as a unity. So, know-how was transferred for marine businesses, marine systems from Britain. Heavy industry and medicine know-how was from Germany, and commercial law systems were from France. So they were integrated into the Japanese system. And in 1800s, later part of the 1800s, there was a high speed evolution program. The Industrial Revolution has started. The seas were achieved. They were transport zones through marine vessels. So a movement has started with this Industrial Revolution. And with the Industrial Revolution, which is, what you can explain to humanity in earthly knowledge, but behind that was a fast evolution system, rapid evolution system, whatever you call it. It was to accelerate the consciousness development of human beings. And a lot of scientists were raised. They were transferred from higher dimensions to Earth to train and educate the people, to bring technology. And this was such a period of time where humanity had a rapid development, a fast advancement, and this resulted in two world wars, actually, World War First and Second. Rapid development was subject to some checks and balances later in the 1946, where the new world order has been established. But prior to this, Japanese systems were transferred to a modern society, modern government, modern country. Later on, during the Meiji Restoration, scientists were brought to Japan from abroad as well. And statist industrialization was initiated since there was no capital to start with. Before the Meiji Restoration, no capital was accumulated in any hands. In 1872, central bank was established before, and yen became the currency of the Japanese country. Railway systems were built with a nationwide coverage. I mean, everywhere you had the railway system. Similar systems were tried to be built in Turkey, but didn't succeed actually much. Water and electricity lines were expanded into every city. And the equality principle was reinforced. I mean, women, for instance, were given the right to divorce. I mean, there were no slavery anymore. Caste systems were abolished. And society became a nation with equal rights. And what I like, I really would like to read a booklet of this. And booklets were distributed to the public, and they were teaching the universal code of conducts. Really, we need this as a humanity in total, I mean. And especially the Turkish culture would need that universal code of conducts. And the education level in the public was about 95%. So education was very important during this restoration. And Japanese students were sent out to main universities to learn more and more. During this time, in 15th of June, 1896, an earthquake happened together with a tsunami. The magnitude was 8.5, and the place was Sanriku earthquake and tsunami. It is really the coincidence of some dates are really interesting. And if you look at those dates from a perspective of astrology, because astrology means some harmonics, some vibrations coming from the magnetic fields that is caused by the conjunctions or angles of the planets versus each other in the solar system. Also, there is an astrology beyond the solar system, which is very important, if you ask me. And is there any influence on the Earth, which is happening in terms of movements of Earth, like earthquake, tsunami, whenever these planets are having a certain alignment, certain conjunction, or certain movements? Is there a relationship which is statistically significant, which means R square is almost 1? If you ask a statistician, that will be caused by back data. I mean, you have to check the back data and run some analysis, statistical analysis, to see whether there is a relationship between the movement of the sky aspects, like astral objects in the sky, astrological data, that means, and also the scientific measurements of the Earth. A lot of people are making such analysis, and they are using these analyses to make some predictions. I think this is very valuable in terms of forecasting some disasters and taking some precautions accordingly. So, actually, Japan was very unfortunate in terms of the earthquakes, because a lot of big earthquakes are happened throughout the history, and a lot of earthquakes were above the level of 8 Richter scale. So I mentioned some of them in my analysis, and I'm not going to go into deep the analysis for an astrological perspective, because I'm still studying I'm running a lot of analysis on that. And on September 1st, 1923, the Great Kanto, or if I read it right, 8.3 magnitude, an earthquake happened. 3rd of March 1933, Sanriku earthquake happened with a magnitude of 8.4 Richter scale. 3rd of December 1944, Tonankai earthquake and tsunami happened with 8.1 magnitude. And it went on like 2 years later, same month, December 20th, Nankai earthquake happened, where after actually it was followed a following earthquake. I have to make a historical or chronological analysis. The 3rd of December 1944, there was a tsunami and earthquake, as I said. And on the 6th of August, unfortunately, and on 9th of August 1945, there were 2 bombs unfortunately hit Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. And 1 year later, 20th of December 1946, there was an earthquake again, 8.1. So between 2 earthquakes, big scale, 8.1, Tonankai and Nankai, there was a disaster of the atomic bombing. Actually, 2 bombs hit the lovely cities of Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, unfortunately. So, actually, this was stated as to end the Second World War. Actually, Germany surrendered on the May 8, 1945, but the Pacific side of the Second World War didn't end. So the excuse behind, there could be no excuse for that, but the historical statements has said that the objective was to end the Second World War in favor of course, the United States. So, 20 years later, in May, 12th of May 1968, the Tokachi earthquake and tsunami happened with a magnitude of 8.5. We all remember at this time the Kobe earthquake, which was 17th of January 1995. This is one of the recent earthquakes that we know about. And there we had the Sun, Neptune, and Uranus conjunct in the sign of Capricorn. And when we come to the 1st of January 2024 earthquake, we again have a conjunction of Sun and Pluto in Capricorn. And so we can, I really don't want to make an early conclusion, but there is, how to say, when the heavy planets like Neptune, Uranus, and also the Sun comes into the conjunction, they cause an effect on the Earth and on the water, especially when Neptune enters into the process, because there are a lot of Pisces in the sign in the natal chart of Japan. We see earthquakes with tsunamis, unfortunately. Of course, the geolocation of Japan is also a factor. Geography is also, of course, a factor. But I just want to draw the attention towards the astrology and the positioning of these earthquakes within history, with the perspective of astrological perspective. Actually, this is what I want to study in more comprehensive aspects, with all of back data, running statistical analysis. If anyone would like to join in this study, they're all welcome. And there were a lot of unidentified anomalous phenomena, in other words, UFOs, in the earthquake that I like to talk about, which was the Oshika Tohaku earthquake, 11th of March 2011, which was one of the biggest earthquake that we remember during this time. One of the 5 biggest earthquakes that happened on Earth, with a magnitude of 9.1. And followed by a tsunami, waves amounting to about 40 meters, huge waves. The tsunami is also a very dangerous aspect of the earthquakes. Actually, it is going to be prevented in the coming ages by features like electromagnetic protection, from the channel readings of my own notes. I am a channeler, as you might know, and they are going to be avoided, in the future. I'm hoping that this technological developments to avoid tsunamis will be progressed as soon as possible, because this is a very dangerous thing in terms of, endangering human species, and also everything that humanity has in terms of construction, in terms of investments, everything. It destroys everything. It's a really big disaster. And today, 2nd of January, I heard in the news that the Japanese airplane was in Tokyo Haneda Airport in flames. It's very sorry news, unfortunate news. But it always comes when you look actually from a statistical perspective. There is always a big airplane news in terms of either a crash or another disaster or an earthquake. I mean, each is following each other. I mean, one is following the other one. Earthquake, airplane. Earthquake, airplane. This was my observation also for other countries, not only Japan. But this is really not a coincidence, if you ask me. And according to a spiritual book, Japan is one of the very important parts of a triangle, which is a triangle of reflection or broadcast. It radiates knowledge that is coming from the skies, coming from the cosmos. So Japan is connected to cosmos as a missionary country, as a country of mission, country of duty, and this also deserves a lot of attention, if you ask me. In the triangle, there are two other countries, Egypt, India, and Japan. Egypt is more for mysteries, secrets, and, our connection to cosmos, which the pyramids, for instance, are built based on the Orion belt. So there is a connection. India is also important in terms of especially philosophy. The scripts of Veda is very important in terms of a spiritual basis for humanity. And Japan is there now for technology, for the rational mind, and the rational mind accompanied with a strong set of universal values. Human codes of conduct, let me say. They know how to behave, they know how to be polite, they know how to appreciate the goodness and the sacredness of things. They care about the nature. I'm talking about the Japanese people. And they are, we call it trusted people. Honest. If they fail to achieve something, if they do anything that could harm the humanity, they commit a suicide. They commit a harakiri. This was, one of the major factors that drew my attention since I was a childhood. If they fail something, they punish themselves. So this was a key aspects that I took it for myself to take it as an item of personality for myself. So Japan is a center directly operating under the commandment of the Galactic Federation, and this is directed by the central sun system. And in my opinion, that's why I make a tribute to Japan. Japan is undertaking the role of the big spiritual brother of the humanity. If the humanity is weak during the process of evolution and advancement, if there are certain steps that should be passed, and this is difficult to the humanity, the Japanese people, the Japanese nation, Japanese magnetic field undertakes that. That happened on the March 11th, 2011. It was said that the Earth was passing to the dimension of the fifth dimension, the upper levels that Earth has never been before. When the fifth dimensional aspects were firstly met by the magnetic field of the Earth, an earthquake was going to happen as a consequence. This was forecasted by the cosmic authorities in the cosmos, not by earthly authorities. And for instance, one of the countries that was going to be hit was Turkey. And Turkey was not ready because it's the center of the mission in terms of the country's duties. Therefore, Japanese people, Japanese magnetic field, undertook this role and pulled the earthquake towards themselves. So this happened in 2011. If you ask me, this happened again 2024 on the very first days of the new year. I wrote a channel message in the last week of August, 23rd of August, 2023. This is talking about a prismatic absolute field where the Earth is taken into as a dimension, as a power dimension, because the prismatic absolute field is a power dimension into which the entire Earth dimension will be taken into, together with the closed system in which the Earth is present at the moment. So this includes the solar system, this includes the cosmos, the closed cosmos system, as we know, the Earth is part of. So this inclusion, the inclusion in this prismatic absolute field is going to enable us, humanity, to depart from a simulation field, and this is basically the closed system. So we are living in a simulation which is closed. And how do we know it's a simulation? Because somebody told us so outside of this closed system. Otherwise, we wouldn't know it was a simulation at all. And in this prismatic absolute field, immortality will be enabled. And we will be having some more advanced human abilities, such as intervention through united brain power fields in response to natural events. So it is in our hands to avoid earthquakes and avoid tsunamis. If we study these in terms of a more spiritual perspective, in terms of more physical perspective, because in my opinion, spirituality is part of physics, which we don't know. So we call it metaphysics. Meta means beyond physics. But one day, metaphysics become actual physics. So we need to study more scientific things. And we have to consider everything in the knowledge set of humanity, including astrology. At least we have to study it, and we have to check whether it works. So, in this final closing period, according to my channeling message, which we know as the main harvest period, according to the divine justice systems, every dimension sent a representative to Earth. And each dimension, of course, had a purpose for existence, and each representative of these dimensions who happened to have an Earth embodiment had a different goal. Therefore, the true unity is quite challenging for humanity. And without a true unity, we continue to witness the current state of the world and humanity, and we don't like it. So, what is true unity? It is, in my words, true unity is the merging of the consciousness coordinates to create a conscious wholeness. I mean, we don't need to come together physically, but our coordinates of consciousness, codes of consciousnesses should merge like a puzzle, like pieces of a Lego, or like a technological machinery, and we are all part of it. So we need to have a consciousness wholeness. I mean, wholeness of integration. I mean, it should function. It should not just come together. It should also have a function. And a program was initiated. The program was starting to be stated to me 22nd of February 2022. And it was stated to have 6 stages, and we have completed the preliminary stage until now, and we are entering the phase 1. This started in 2022, and it will be active until the year 2222. So, the major program changes in humanity's collective processes need to be analyzed in 10 years intervals. And we can all recall the transition in 2012. Add 10 years, it brings us to 2022. And macro program changes occur in 100-year periods. After the completion of the 100-year cycle between the 1990 and 2019, the Earth encountered the initial moments of the prismatic magnetic field. And in the mirror year we call 2020, the world program was intervened with the virus, COVID-19, and humanity was stopped, halted. The routine functioning of the world changed, and awakening began. Actually, the routine was causing the awakening delay. It was causing a delay in the awakening of the humanity. So when everything stopped, people started to ask why. Of course, there was a master plan before anything was created, and all these programs were prepared and hidden in time, let's say, hidden in consciousness, and based on time and collective consciousness, all the programs are opening up. So these programs are unfolding based on the humanity's collective consciousness codes. For example, if the humanity's subconsciousness is filled with codes of fear, we experience as humanity programs that is a derivative of fear and ego. And so when the humanity is, scanned in terms of, we have discs, personal discs. Every human being has a disc, and they are scanned every day. So if there are a lot of fear frequencies and fear codes are on the discs, we see earthquakes, fires, volcanic eruptions. We can't do anything. And we feel small, versus the big disasters. We can't do anything. We have no control over them. We feel like that. And our subconscious is then stuck with guilt, inadequacy, and fear codes. And it was decided that these codes need urgent updating. And even though the law of non-intervention exists, they needed an update. So they needed a field on planet Earth to download these codes. So, of course, there are some negative dimensional attacks, and everything was included in the master plan. Even the deviations are part of the master plan. Before everything happened, everything was created. So, and it is a perfect plan, so don't worry about, therefore, we don't need the fear codes. Actually, the master plan has identified potential situations where the plan was on the way of deviation. So there are some measures that pulls back everything according to the plan. So there is no absolute future for humanity. The future is still consists of some alternatives, and we are free with our free will to decide on which alternative we are going to live in. Therefore, there is no deterministic absolute future until we enter into the absolute field, prismatic absolute field. Until then, we are not there yet, and we are in a derivative field. And we can decide on the best option, derivative, alternative for our future. And it's like something, if you want me to give an example on this, you can say, for instance, in the absolute area, absolute field, prismatic absolute field, it's like a 48 layered prisma, like a Merkaba field, covering the earth so that the earth doesn't collapse or doesn't explode, or the humanity is safe somewhere. Of course, which part of the humanity? Those who are able to advance their consciousness until the absolute level. So a macro consciousness level, which is desired for the humanity. These humans will go to the absolute field. And in the absolute field, a human being would say, I am the earth. But in the current state, relative state, derivative state, you say, I am an earthling, I live on earth. When you decide in your consciousness codes that you are the earth, you are close to the thinking of the absolute area. Okay? So we are now not at that point. Therefore, on the 5th of May 2023, the program has started to be loaded more and more, which was loaded. The updated consciousness codes started to be loaded more and more in heavy amounts into humanity's collective subconsciousness. And human consciousness, let's say, uses accumulated data from cyclical events to create a model for the future. And this model determines the speed of human evolution. The better we create a model, the less likely that we experience disasters that need to teach us lessons. We can learn the lessons at lower costs, lower sacrifices. So this is in our hands. And the dates between June 21st, 2023 and August 23, 2023, an accelerated interim program came into play, and this was creating a field where the consciousness codes could be loaded. The layers of old consciousness codes had become quite rigid, and they were not useful anymore. So these codes of updated consciousness will be loaded, and more we will see an accelerated loading. And this started in 24th of September 2023, and this will last until 24th of September 2024. This 1 year period is very special, and we are in this period. This is like a tunnel, and it is a demo version of the progress of the 200-year period into the prismatic absolute field. The more people succeed within this 1 year period, they are going to be pillars for this 200 period, and they are going to carry the rest of the humanity in a more protected human field. So it started on June 21st, 2023, But the codes were decided to be loaded by the Galactic Federation and Confederation on the 5th of May 2023, and I have all the messages for them. I'm just summarizing my channel messages now in English, and these were the dates that started, and the consciousness codes were loaded, started to be loaded on the 5th of May 2023, and in 1.5 months, by 21st of June 2023, there was a need for a magnetic field on Earth. And people started to come together, actually thousands of people, who happened to read a big spiritual book. The name I can't mention. If you ask me in private, I can give the name. And they started to read and write the book to create a big, strong magnetic field. And this was a very important event. Nobody knows about it. And now I'm explaining it because we have passed the entrance of the first year period, 24th of September 2023, and this is going to be next year's 24th of September 2024. This 1 year period is very important. Really, I'm saying this, I normally wouldn't share this information. Actually, I 1 or 2 months ago, in I think October, a message came to me by the first week of October and saying I should broadcast the knowledge that came. That was, imported the 21st of June, 24th of September, and the key dates, so that people can understand the changes and what's happening, and they can arrange their own lives accordingly. But, I refrained from doing this for personal reasons. And if you refrain from sharing a knowledge, they make you do it. And they make you regret that you haven't done this before. So when I saw the earthquake, and since October, my head is ringing. Japanese people, Japan, please learn some Japanese, things like that. I mean, my channel was, combined with the Japanese magnetic field somehow. I really don't know why. But because my natal chart may be aligned so much, and maybe the transits that is occurring, transit astrological charts that made the impact so strong. So I'm still studying the reasons, and let's come back to my channel message. Actually, we have now 3 parts, 3 centers that manages the system. One is the Atalanta mechanism, and love dimension is linked to this. And the plans, the master plans, they are now in action, in operation, let's say. We have Venus mechanism that also controls the Jupiter portal, because we all knew that we are going to exit from the Saturn portal, from the 19th dimension, but some of them are going to be rescued from the Jupiter portal. This is now open. And there's a dispatch station. It's between the moon and the earth. And we will be witnessing some knowledge also confirmed by the space investigators and research, maybe more and more, because they follow such channel messages and they confirm what has been taken from the channel messages. So there is a pyramid surface, as I said, pyramid structure of this prismatic absolute field. It has 48 reflective surfaces. And we have actually not so much people are required for this program, because we need just people who are strong enough, in terms of their brain capacity and, power and cleanliness, no ego, no fear. Such number of people are not much on earth. So therefore, we cannot have maybe thousands of people on that, but it is enough that a certain amount of people, I'm not going to mention the amount, are enough to carry out this program. But, having the input from the mechanism of influences and also the astrological magnetic fields coming through the conjunctions and the positions of the planets and angles towards each other, people are influenced and they approached me, and we are now carrying out a program. And I said, this is not much open to the public, but it works, and it helps to build this new updated codes of consciousness. It is no threat to anyone. It is not aiming to replace any institution, any book. It's not a threat. I have to repeat, this is done as a contingency for humanity, to help the humanity. I wish it was not required at all. If the humanity has proceeded as planned, this wouldn't be necessary, and this is a patch program. If a time, for instance, program is thrown into pieces, and there's a deviation from the master plan, there's always a patch program. And this was one of the patch programs. So the center where the message is given is connected to technological dimension. There are a lot of charts, a lot of numeric values. I have drawn them all, but I'm not going to publish them until a certain time. So therefore, whoever is interested in advancing human consciousness without any ego, without any fear of failure, we are anyhow united, even if we don't know each other's name, even if we don't know how these patch programs are functioning, to-dos or not to-dos, things like that. But in terms of codes of consciousness, I think there is a unified field that started to be visible by 21st of June, and that is more accelerated after the 24th of September. And we are going to be witnessing more and more actions by February 22nd, for instance, during that time period, and we have to keep going. So let's let's close a tribute to Japan program, because I really appreciate Japan's presence in terms of their natal chart, in alignment with my personal natal chart. I hope to be in Japan one day. My family has traveled to Japan back and forth, but I couldn't. I couldn't travel to Egypt, and I couldn't travel to India, although I traveled to many parts of the world. So sometimes you don't get into these resonating broadcast triangles. You have to stay outside in terms of some channels. Because I'm a channel, I had to perhaps stay outside of this triangle, not to be influenced by any broadcast coming from those triangles. And I know, but one day I really want to go to Japan and have more Japanese friends. Actually, they are very honest people, very humble, very modest, and very kind. And we need more kindness into this humanity. And if someone can give me a copy of the book, which was distributed during the Meiji Restoration, to the Japanese public, Japanese people, including the universal codes of consciousness or codes of conduct. I would really appreciate that. I know Japan is an archive of knowledge, and which is going to be revealed throughout time, as consciousness of humanity is getting more and more evolved. Fortunately, this is going to happen in near future, I presume. So thank you for listening. This was a long Time Chronicle broadcast, but I missed it, so I'm looking forward to be in more frequent broadcasts with you from this moment onwards. And I'm going to talk about other countries and their missions in other broadcasts. Take care. Have a nice new year, 2024.